Hello, Nigeria. Welcome to Newsline, coming to you from Lagos. I am Becky Madujemo. It's been raining in my side of the world, and I'm sure those outside Lagos can relate to the weather. Meanwhile, hope you are complying with the safety guidelines as regards to coronavirus. It's important that you follow the rules for your sake and that of others around you, including children. Yes, children and the pandemic is an aspect hardly discussed. This is because we seldom associate very young people with the virus. Experts will present the facts and the myths, as well as what can be done to protect their well-being, if need be. Also coming later are several reports on rape. More men have been arrested for this crime, including fathers who defiled their daughters. Stay with us as we open with the news by Elizabeth Omoriyi in Abuja. Hello, Lizzie.
Nice to see you, Becky, and thanks for joining us on the news segment. The presidency has reacted to criticism concerning the recent meeting held by the National Executive Committee of the All Progressives Congress, APC, alleging that President Muhammadu Buhari called a political meeting in the hallowed chamber of the Federal Council. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, describes it as a misunderstanding and emphatically says the meeting was not convened at the Council's chamber. It was virtual, not a physical meeting. The idea was to observe social distancing in view of health concerns, and President Buhari chose the Council's chamber where the digital facilities are located. Yes, it is true that governors and leaders of the National Assembly joined the President from the chamber from where he spoke, but the larger body of members connected via video calls. Meanwhile, members of the dissolved Adams Oshomole-led National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress have accepted wholeheartedly the decision of the National Executive Committee of the party. A statement jointly signed by the immediate past National Secretary and National Vice Chairman South of the APC, Waziri Bulama, and Hilad Etta said, as party men and stakeholders, they do not intend to sustain a group's agitation against their party. They appreciated the intervention of the leader of the party, President Muhammadu Buhari, and expressed honored loyalty to the party and the caretaker committee led by Maimala Buni, and assured all that they will not contest their authority, but instead work selflessly with the team in its peace and consensus building efforts within the party, especially during the party's electioneering efforts in the forthcoming Edo State gubernatorial election on September 19, 2020. The second Niger Prize for Leadership in Partners National Leadership Dialogue Series has called for value reorientation among citizens to help in the overall development of the country. Haman Jabani reports.
The Prize for Leadership and Partners National Leadership Dialogue is primarily to raise the consciousness on leadership as an important and fundamental matter, not just at the political level, but also at the economic, social, and cultural identity. It also seeks to raise vibrant and credible successive government and generational replacement. The participants say some of the major leadership problems in Nigeria have to do with not giving the elites an educated space, just as those in leadership positions are not training and learning.
There is very strong desire to introduce leadership in the curriculum of education in Nigeria at every level, primary, secondary, tertiary, that leadership should be taken very seriously.
Sometimes with no competence or capacity or experience or knowledge, and they come into governance sphere with high or the highest positions, and they are either clueless or they are overwhelmed by the requirements of leadership.
The stakeholders identified 15 variables that include education, competence, credibility, personal integrity and conduct, naming and shaming as value orientation that must be imbibed by all to achieve leadership success.
Whenever people have to take decisions affecting the interests of other people, it is necessary for someone to show leadership.
There are people who are carrying around all kinds of certificates in this country, rookie PhD, who are not educated. So it's really not a matter of certification.
A country is full of certificated illiterates. It's a matter of how history shows that you have learned.
Key players commended the MPL for coming up with the dialogue series while charging political parties to change their orientation, just as youths must develop leadership capabilities as well as learn from elders. Hamman Germany, NTA News.
Away from the leadership dialogue, President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Malawian opposition alliance leader Lazarus Chakwera for winning the country's presidential election rerun. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President says he looks forward to working with him for the advancement of peace, security and development of the entire continent. President of the United Nations General Assembly, Professor Tijani Mohamed Bande, has described the global adoption of the UN Charter in 1945 as a moment of reckoning. Professor Bande was speaking at a virtual ceremony to mark the 75th anniversary of the UN Charter. Adebola Brooksland Sunday tells us more.
The Charter was adopted when the Second World War was in its final months. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said it is an anniversary of that milestone as global pressures are spiraling up.
We need to reimagine multilateralism, give it teeth to function as the founders intended, and ensure that effective global governance is a reality when it is needed.
UNGA President Professor Tijani Mohamed Bande encouraged the international community to drive onward by displaying heroism and solidarity in the fight against COVID-19.
This is a time for action, ambition, and partnership. 3/4 of a century ago, skeptics doubted the resolve of the members of the United Nations. Cynicism did not prevail then, nor will it now.
The UN chiefs say what the world needs now is solidarity and cooperation to help defeat coronavirus and build back economies in the spirit of one community. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
To COVID-19 updates, global coronavirus cases now exceed 10 million as China puts 500,000 people in lockdown after a spike in cases. Let's now join Joyce Sumetu for a weekly review on the pandemic.
Nigeria has continued to experience significant increase in the number of coronavirus infections and deaths in the country. A review of statistics by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and CDC showed that the country registered a total of 3,833 new cases within the week. The NCDC said so far, 24,077 cases have been confirmed. 8,625 patients have been treated and discharged, with 558 deaths recorded. Out of the number of confirmed cases, Lagos State alone registers more than 10,000 cases of COVID-19. Continent-wide data published by Worldometer as at 6 p.m. local time reveal 375,821 cases of the virus in Africa, 9,543 deaths and 181,950 recoveries. The latest statistics show an increase of 74,776 new cases in 7 days. Meanwhile, global confirmed COVID-19 cases Sunday exceeded 10 million, marking a grim milestone in the spread of the virus. As at 6 p.m. local time, record by Johns Hopkins University indicates that 502,539 persons have died and over 5.5 million recoveries recorded. These figures show that 1,180,661 new cases and 34,722 new fatalities were recorded in 1 week. Turning attention to China, that country has imposed another strict lockdown on around 500,000 people to contain a fresh coronavirus outbreak. After China largely brought the virus under control, hundreds have now been infected in Beijing. And that's the global update on COVID-19. Many thanks for watching. I am Joyce Ometu.
Thank you so much, Joyce. And still talking COVID-19, in recognition of the critical role of the Nigeria Police Force in ongoing efforts at containing COVID-19 pandemic in the country, China General Chamber of Commerce in Nigeria donated some personal protective equipment to the police. Francis Form reports.
Donation includes 40,000 disposable surgical masks, 500 disposable medical protective suit, and 1 infrared thermal imaging thermometer unit. The police authority say the equipment will be duly distributed to personnel of the force in the front line of operations while carrying out COVID-19 prevention enforcement duties.
For me, this donation will serve as a stark reminder, a very subtle reminder to other people out there that the police constitute part of the frontline forces combating COVID-19.
President of China General Chamber of Commerce in Nigeria explains that the gesture is in recognition of the crucial role frontline workers like the police play in ensuring an enabling environment for ease of doing business, enforcement of COVID-19 guidelines, and the protection of lives and property.
We have more than 100 sites. We are safe because we have you. We have your protecting and support. So I hope this one can protecting you, all these items, protecting your team, and you will protect all the citizens.
The police calls for corporate and private groups to emulate the worthy gesture of the China Chamber of Commerce in support of the Nigeria Police Force. In Abuja, Francis Form, NTA News.
Let's now take you to Lagos, where the Federal Road Safety Corps says it is not leaving nothing to chance to ensure motorists and commuters alike obey the COVID-19 protocols approved by the federal government to curb community spread. Annie Daniels reports that this was re-emphasized during the unveiling of new COVID-19 awareness and enlightenment kiosk by the Corps in Lagos.
Rising number of COVID-19 cases across the country, many Nigerians have continued to throw caution to the wind with regards to safety. Mindful of the danger this attitude portends and in line with its mandate to save lives, especially on roads, the Federal Road Safety Corps Lagos Command, in collaboration with a pharmaceutical company, has gone a step further to enlighten residents of Lagos and Ogun states on the dangers of not adhering to safety measures put in place by the World Health Organization to curb COVID-19. In achieving this dream, kiosks like these ones will be stationed at strategic bus stops and motor parks across Lagos and Ogun states,
where we know that people will be traveling within the states. People that are on essential services will also be moving out of the state, that will reach out to them. As we are going to have our men at the desk, they are going to serve as desk marshals who will be monitoring the activities of the use of the kiosk. They are going to be the one even distributing the handbills.
It's a whole lot of campaign that must be sustained, and we know that road safety, in every venture they've gone into, road safety sustains it. You can imagine the seatbelt, what they did with seatbelt. Today, seatbelt is a culture in the society. We know that they're going to get it right, and so that's why we're very much interested in partnering with them.
The Corps also wants motorists, especially commercial transporters, against conveying more than the required number of passengers in their vehicles. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Away from COVID-19, the Nigerian Army has put in place strategies to rapidly end emerging security threats in parts of the country. Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, stated this at the inauguration of projects at the headquarters, 3 Brigade, Kano. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Of our soldiers and their families.
With this, soldiers of Bukavu Barracks in 3 Brigade, Kano, under 1 division, can now boast of a befitting accommodation. It comprises of 5 blocks of 60 apartments and 2 blocks of 24 apartments.
This is the first.
Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, says the project is an intervention aimed at boosting troops' morale in the ongoing efforts to stem criminal activities across the country.
For any soldier in the field to be efficient, His welfare must be properly taken care of. And this is one of the programs that we have for our officers and men.
And what we are also seeing today is the demonstration of the Chief of Army Staff's commitment to the upliftment of the welfare and living accommodation of personnel of the Nigerian Army.
Chief of the Army Staff also inspected refurbished combat vehicles and ongoing projects at the 73 Battalion Janguza Barracks before proceeding to the Palace of Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, to seek for the support of the Royal Father in the fight against criminality. The Royal Father commends the military for securing Falgore Forest in Kano through the establishment of a formation. From Kano, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Still talking security, the Nigerian military says the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has destroyed a Boko Haram terrorist logistics base and neutralized scores of their fighters in Tungule and Bukat Miram in Borno State. A statement by Coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, indicates that confirmation by credible intelligence of Boko Haram convergence at Tungule led to the successful air interdiction by the ATF. Similarly, at Bukat Miram, a Boko Haram terrorist logistics hub on the fringes of the Lake Chad, the airstrikes, which were carefully timed and executed in multiple waves for maximum effects, resulted in the obliteration of designated portions of the terrorist facilities. Several of their fighters were also killed in the process. Meanwhile, the Defense Headquarters on Twitter via its handle at Defense Info NG says troops of Operation Lafia Dole have neutralized several bandits and rescued kidnapped victims in Katsina and Zamfara states, recovering weapons, ammunition and motorcycles in the process. Let's shift attention to sports now. Rivers United looks ahead to continental football as Amanza Marcus brings us details on sports updates. Away from sports now, the remains of the former governor of Oyo State, Senator Abiola Ajimobi, have been laid to rest at his private residence in Ibadan. Dayo Ogunshola reports.
The burial of the former governor of Oyo State was conducted as a private family event at his residence in compliance with medical advisory in the country. Thereafter, a special prayer was held in his honor at Isiaka Ajimobi Central Mosque, Okeado in Ibadan, where eminent Nigerians gathered to pay him their last respect.
You could describe him as the architect of modern Oyo State.
He's created the basis for further development of Oyo State.
He shone brighter than several others that were before him, and also some of his contemporaries.
I think the lesson is for us to do well while we are alive.
I believe that anybody who is born of woman will know that his death is actually a tragedy.
His development stride while he was in office for 8 years, it is second to none.
The son of Ajimobi, Idris Ajimobi, says his father will be remembered as a trailblazer and achiever of note.
He preached unity and togetherness and love all the time. Never promoted violence.
More Nigerians are still visiting his private home to condole the bereaved family. In Ibadan, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with the Bachama Kingdom, the government and people of Adamawa State, as well as the family of Kenya honest Irmiya Stevens, retired, the Hama Bachama and paramount ruler of Bachama Kingdom, over the transition of the monarch. In a statement, the president further states that the retired military officer and 28th ruler of Bachama Kingdom distinguished himself in the Nigerian army and devoted his post-service years to promoting the development of his people and fostering unity of his fatherland. The president praised God to console all those who mourn the departed and grant the soul eternal rest. And the Bachama Kingdom of Adamawa State continues to receive condolences from within and outside the country over the death of its paramount ruler, who died in the early hours of today, the 28th of June 2020. Tafa Hamza Mayo reports.
The ruler died as a result of brief illness. Hama Bachama Homon Honest Irmiya was the 28th ruler of the Bachama Kingdom. The late Hama Bachama received staff of office in December 15, 2013. He ruled for 7 years. Kuremana Koperato II, as his subject used to call him, was a very humorous person. Born in 1954 to the family of Warrant Officer Prince Irmea Stephen and Princess Lokoni Irmea, the deceased served in the Nigerian army to the rank of colonel before his retirement from service. At 66, late Irmea Stephen was buried in Lamurde in accordance with the tradition of the Bachama Kingdom. In Yola, Tafawa Hamza Mayo, NTA News.
And Kogi State Chief Judge Justice Nasiru Ajana has died on Sunday morning at the age of 64. Justice Ajana was sworn in as acting Chief Judge in 2008. He died in Abuja after complications arising from ill health. The late Chief Judge was a life bencher and served as a member of the Presidential Implementation Committee on Financial Autonomy of State Judiciary in State Legislature. Chief Ajana worked tirelessly dispensing justice even amidst the lockdown occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic. And that concludes the news segment. Becky has more on Newsline after the break.
Two prophets in Akwa Ibom State are bailed to face justice for the alleged crime of rape. Did you just say rape again? I did too. It's shocking that rape won't stop trending. In their confessions, the prophets revealed that teenage domestic staff were their easiest target. Clement Barrique reports that some men were also arrested alongside the duo for defiling their own daughters. One of the victims is pregnant.
Investigation revealed that the suspect in November 2019 repeatedly raped his 16-year-old daughter, which culminated to her escaping from the father's home to her friend's abode at a Tinan local government area. However, the father of the victim later persuaded the daughter to return back home with the promise that he will stop the abuse. But he continued to violate the daughter severally when she returned home until he was arrested.
It is situations such as these that has prompted reactions and condemnations by different human rights groups, organizations, and individuals in Akwa Ibom State. The campaigns against rape and defilement continue on the street. The message is simple, and that is justice for rape victims.
Say no to rape! Say no to rape!
A father raping his own child, a brother raping his children.
As the campaigns continue on the street of Uyo and in the media, the police launched manhunts for perpetrators of rape, and within just 2 weeks, 12 persons were apprehended from various parts of the state. One of such pathetic cases involves one Sunday Otema, who lured a 10-year-old girl to a bush and had unlawful carnal knowledge of her. Another case is that of one Samson Njanabasi, who connived and gang-raped an 11-year-old girl, while a 55-year-old Udoikong defiled and impregnated a 16-year-old.
The said pastor, who lives with 8 other girls between the ages of 13 and 16 years in his so-called deliverance center, severally had unlawful carnal knowledge of one of the minors who is aged 15 years old.
The story goes on, but the good news is that perpetrators may no longer have soft landing. Governor Dom Emmanuel has just signed a bill into law prescribing life imprisonment for rapists, while the victims will be fully compensated.
But we also believe that maybe in the nearest future, we should also have stringent, stronger measures in terms of like even death sentence on offenders.
Law is on to rapists. Gone are the days when suspects walked free. Now, news about the rape of a 3-month-old baby in Nasarawa State was received with dismay by most Nigerians. Many are furiously demanding the culprit's head on a platter. From Lafia, Abigail Bashir reports that the suspect, who also confessed to raping 3 minors last year, blames mental instability for his monstrous behavior.
The rape on the innocent baby was met with statewide condemnation and peaceful protests by stakeholders, reaching out to authorities to take decisive action. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, following investigation, caught up with the suspect, Amadou Yaro, in Akwanga. The suspect says he's mentally unstable.
He confessed that he picked the daughter and took the girl to an uncompleted building opposite government secondary school in Adugi, where he said he spread his shirt on the ground and put the baby there to commit the act.
Chairperson, Federation of Female Lawyers, Justina Alu, says the case will not be treated lightly.
I just pray and hope that when they are required in court for prosecution, they will also come out. Because if they don't come out, we are handicapped. There's nothing we can do. We can't manufacture evidence.
We have been networking, collaborating with the judiciary to see that the right thing is being done. Because if people do things and they allow them to go scot-free, they feel, it's just a normal thing.
Wife of the governor, Silifat Abdullahi Sule, says fear of stigmatization and pressure from parents should not deter the parents from seeking justice. She reiterates commitment to ensure protection of women against all forms of abuses.
I want to show the pain. What happened to Rukaya? I'm not happy. We should say no to rape.
Governor Abdullahi Sule, while condemning increasing cases of rape, says appropriate measures will be taken to deal with perpetrators.
Will decide his fate, and we hope the baby gets adequate help. It's just so sad. A week ago, the media was awash with the murder-suicide story involving a man and his lover in Lagos. The couple had 2 children. Anna Daniels brings details and the police angle.
The brutal killing of a 25-year-old mother of 2 by her 39-year-old lover is still sending chills down the spines of Lagosians.
The man said they did DNA tests on the children, like 2 boys. And I found out that one was his and one was not his. Then there's another issue I heard also on this same social media that said the family of the lady said the man had to run from Port Harcourt, that he also killed his ex-girlfriend.
Whether the stories are right or wrong, respondents condemn the action of the man.
I think the man just went out of control. It had nothing to do with any mental issue at all. For you to be able to kill someone like that, you would have been a murderer, because for you to use plier and remove somebody's hair and you have the mind to stab. In fact, to even stab someone like this, you need to have that extra mind, reserved mind.
The incident occurred in Lekki area of Lagos, and the State Police Public Relations Officer, Bala Elkanah, says it is a case of murder and suicide.
The homicide team arrived at the scene. What they saw was the corpse of a young woman, a 25-year-old woman, in the pool of her own blood, with injuries all over her face, suspected to have been killed, to have been stabbed with a knife. So there are 2 blood-stained knives also by the site.
The police spokesperson informed me that the deceased were not married, neither were they living together. Although they had 2 children, their relationship was a complicated one.
They have been having issue over and over among themselves, on and off the relationship, on reason best known to them.
Items seen at the scene of the incident, he says, points to the fact that it is a premeditated one.
It's painting the picture that first he invited them, She was in her house separately in Ogba, and he asked her to come over. And he must have gotten his sniper ready, got those items ready, the knife ready, and loud the music so that nobody get to know what he was about to do.
But why would a person kill his loved one and himself?
It's demonic. A normal person cannot do such.
If there are underlying issues that have not been resolved, for instance, and that is eating them up, and somebody is taking it to the root of his existence, he will start gradually nursing the idea of ending it all.
I'm pretty sure the woman must have seen signs of violence in the man before she ever got involved with him. And I think that's one thing that most people overlook. They observe things, they observe cases of violence, they observe cases of alcoholism in their partners, and they just overlook it. And they just marry, or they assume that it will change, or that the person will change over time, and that doesn't work.
I wonder what happened to love and mutual understanding.
An extreme case of crime of passion that was. It all boils down to anger management and why a partner must walk away before it's too late. Still on crime, the spate of murder in some parts of the country is becoming worrisome, and the fact that some of the victims got raped before the killings makes it really disturbing. From Ibadan, Rufia Anima Shaun Badmus reports that a particular local government in Oyo State is most affected.
Location got to do with crime and criminality. Akinyele local government area of Oyo State has recorded a number of deaths as a result of either rape or attack on innocent individuals across the area. This spot is where Mujib Tirimisiyu was hacked to death. Like the case of Barakat Bello, student of IARNT Ibadan, who was murdered at Oloro area. Azizat Shomuyiwa, postgraduate student at the University of Ibadan, was killed at Ijefun, Shagbe, and Grace Osiago, the Okeogun Polytechnic, Shaki, at Idiori, Shasha, all at Akinyele local government in Oyo State. The recent killing is that of a 5-year-old Mujib Tirimisiyu in Tose area and Olushayo Fagbemi, 42-year-old woman in Shasha Market area, bringing to 5 the number of killings in the same area in 3 weeks.
I was not at home on that day. When I was called on getting home, I saw plenty people around who told me they have killed Mujib.
God shouted my brother. I rushed out to see him lying down in blood. We took him to the hospital and realized he was hacked on the head.
We saw the shovel where they killed the boy. We saw everything. And the blood is over the leaf, all the leaf. So the blood is there, but we could not find anybody.
A psychologist and sociologist give reasons that could be responsible for the actions.
Then we also have this problem of drug and alcohol abuse, which induces some people into rape. When they take it, they cannot control their emotions.
It could have happened that in the process of the act, the victim identified maybe one of them and then triggered or threatened that he or she would do this and do that.
So it is not only to say that things does not concern you. When it happens in your vicinity, you should be able to come to their rescue or quickly inform security agencies.
We are not resting on our oars because we have now focused our not only proactive, both proactive and reactive actions towards Akinyele.
Family members of the deceased have pleaded with the state government to release the corpses in order to do the needful in time. Members of the public have therefore solicited for enhanced security of lives and property and to put an end to this ugly trend.
Much crime in circulation. We await updates on that matter. Let's go on a short break. More stories right after. Back. A mother of 6 is on Newsline tonight by virtue of what she does for a living. Her job description is not for the squeamish. which is why Ngozi Onyemuru in Benue State stands out among men as a butcher. Ode Moses Ajawu, who interacted with this energetic woman at the abattoir in Makurdi, reports.
And venturing into fields which are hitherto considered exclusive reserves of the male folks. This is the case of a mother of 6, Mrs. Ngozi Onyemuru, a female butcher at the Wurukum Abattoir in Makurdi, the Benue State capital.
Right behind me is the Makurdi Abattoir. Slaughtering business, also known as butchering, is usually carried out by men because of its technicalities. But for Ngozi Onyemuru's passion for the business, no situation is insurmountable.
The only female butcher who hails from Orumba South local government area of Anambra State took up the business 5 years ago due to the realities of the time. According to the mother of 6, her desire to venture into the business was born out of her quest to cushion the effects of the economic hardship on her family.
When I find out that things are not going well, that the business that he's doing, the handwork that he's doing that is not helping us, I decided to join it. And since I joined it, in fact, we just do it as a joint business now.
Mrs. Onyemuru's experience on the job over time is believed to have given her the requisite skill, which has made her self-reliant.
Last year, I got a shop at the Railway Market there. I got a shop there. And whenever I finish here, and after we butcher the meat and I finish here, I will carry it and go to my workshop.
The husband, Christian Onyemuru, a radio technician, is overwhelmed by the successes recorded by his wife.
When my wife called me and that she wanted to be a butcher, I laughed. But presently, as things are going, she have even drawn me into it.
Her trainer, Victor Ozuako, and customers bear their mind on her determinations to succeed.
In business, doors are open, and business are opportunity, and anyone can grab it, which she came and explained she wants to be part of the Butcher Association and learn the business.
Mr. and Mrs. Ngozi Onyemuru and her family lives in a 2-bedroom apartment in Wadata area of Makurdi, a 10-minute drive from her business port. Despite her tight and demanding business schedule, she has successfully balanced her unique business and family commitment, seeing 2 out of the 6 children through secondary education.
I help her in terms of cooking because I found out that once she comes back from her business, she's sometimes very tired.
Considering the cost of education in the country, Mr. and Mrs. Onyemuru are optimistic their business will flourish to further improve their well-being.
When it comes to earning a decent living, gender shouldn't get in the way. Still on extraordinary people, 9-year-old Oluoma Chiokpara was born with a rare gift. He can sing a standing ovation out of any audience. As it is with most talents, someone discovered his potential and posted renditions by the boy on Facebook. The post went viral. Even the wife of the Imo State governor was blown away and decided to adopt him. I think I've said too much. Beatrice Ayan will finish the story.
When this video surfaced on the social media, it caught the attention of many who were thrilled by the voice of the 9-year-old child hawking beer along the street of Owerri, Imo State.
Into your sanctuary, we come to adore you, Lord. Into your sanctuary.
His name is Oluoma Chiokpara. He hails from Ayazumbise local government area of Imo State, the third in the family of 5 whose interest in singing made him join the choir at the age of 5.
When I'm 5 years old, I can see small children singing in the television. I'm happy because the children is singing. My mind is telling me to be singing how that children will be singing. Before my mommy called one auntie in the choir that I have not entered choir, say her to come and carry me and join in the choir, and they join me.
The interesting side of his story is that the intention of the stranger who posted the video that went viral was just to attract the attention of his Facebook friends who could help him get the boy off the street hawking.
I was just wondering, what will I do to help this boy? What if I train him, I give him that scholarship in primary school and secondary school? What will be his future? Because he needs to go to university and I don't have that capacity. So I decided to post it online.
In a swift twist of fate, Olomachi's life has now taken a different turn as very prominent Nigerians touched by his rendition have indicated interest in taking over his upkeep. Top on the list is the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma, who tweeted of his intention to adopt the 9-year-old boy.
I can assure you that the governor is going to dedicate a special account for the boy that will, from where it will be like a special account dedicated to him for his education, from where he can, even if he's not there, the boy can be sure that he will get to any level of education he wants to get.
The joy of the father, a spray painter, and mother, a petty trader, know no bounds to identify with the talented young boy whose dream is to become a Catholic priest.
I can sing when I'm praying, but I cannot sing with a golden voice like my son.
I'm so happy.
Since they packed in here, I found out the boy is just a genius.
No doubt, the talent of Olomachi, whose name means the good work of God, has indeed made a way for him.
Talent there. Olomachi is set for greatness. Watch out for that budding star. Next up is young, intelligent, lovable, very easygoing, and the firstborn of his parents. Like most children with big dreams for the future, he hopes to become a medical doctor. But right now, a dreadful twist threatens that aspiration. Momso Damian Dati reports.
Charming smiles of a happy family. Abdulaziz Haruna, his wife and children, all looking good and hopeful. His first son, Iman, is an exceptional child. At 12, he's already taking responsibility as the big brother. Loving, cheerful, intelligent, and full of life with so many prospects lying ahead for him. All looks beautiful and rosy. Suddenly, the story changed. Fears are now in the eyes of the entire family. Tears for an African man may indicate a sign of weakness and can be so embarrassing, except in very rare occasions where powerful emotions take over. That is the case with Abdulaziz and his family, as tears drop in open abandon to relieve anguish and great fear for the unknown.
No matter how long you live on this world, you go. The death is inevitable. But what pains me for him is too young. The experience of a first child to his father, you know what it means. It's my closest child, discuss, like mate. Never expected this.
We do see these things on television elsewhere. We just keep praying for those people and wish it never comes to us. So this came to us as a shock. It's very depressing. I know how we've been trying to put my brother together. It's not, he used to be very equally, he used to be almost my size. Yes, he's just been so trimmed down because of this whole thing.
It all started in 2018 with a fever and high temperature.
I was having a teacher's warning and severe head pain. I was diagnosed of kidney failure.
He was very healthy, very, very healthy. If you see his pictures, you won't believe. All of a sudden, well, this happens. We were admitted on the referral letter. It was recommended that he should be dialyzed. But that was the first time I knew about dialysis. And they told me there are some deaths in the kidney that need to be washed for like 3 times weekly. Like in this hospital now, in both children and adults, it's 25,000 per section.
Today, the situation has brought Iman to a level that is life-threatening.
The definite treatment for him is kidney transplant. That's just the possibility, the only option for him. I get the money, I get it done, because the longer it takes, the risk attached to it.
He needs a kidney transplant urgently, and his own mother has volunteered to donate one of her kidneys.
It's a condition of no option. What will I do? It was advised that he got that from a close relation. I actually lost my job. I actually lost my job 2015. And since then, I've been hustling.
Iman wants to actualize his dream of becoming a medical doctor to save lives. Iman wants to live because he is Nigeria's future. Iman has rights as a child and a promising future that must not be cut short for any reason whatsoever. But his own life needs to be saved first. And 10.3 million naira is all that is needed to keep him and his dream alive.
And then to give me money and you put it for me for my transplant to be successful.
Indeed sad, heart-wrenching. He needs help, and your donations will ensure he gets it. Now to COVID-19, experts always note that there's still much to discover about the coronavirus. But one thing we've heard many times over is that minors hardly get infected. Now, when it was said that a 2-year-old girl with COVID-19 was being managed at the Federal Medical Center in Abuja, Ogun State, Taiwo Adeniyi, on behalf of Newsline, ventured near the isolation center to verify the claim. Here's what they found.
Noticed that she had high temperature and almost convulsing. I rushed her to a clinic, and after treatment, we were referred to Federal Medical Center.
That is Mrs. Oyeleye Oluwatoyin, mother of the 2.5-year-old girl diagnosed with COVID-19 in Abuja. On arrival, the hospital management observed she had persistent high temperature and difficulty in breathing. Although the initial suspicion was meningitis, further investigations and tests revealed she was COVID-19 positive. She was immediately isolated, while the facility where she was initially admitted was decontaminated.
It's a lesson to everybody that anybody can be infected. So this 2.5 years old, and the initial thinking is that, younger ones cannot be infected.
Doctors managing the young girl are happy about her steady progress.
We are making progress because with sore throat, she will not be able to eat well, but she's eating well. So definitely we are winning.
Without putting on an ideal PPE, this is the safest point that medical experts managing this isolation center say I can stay in order for me to do this piece to come. But in the isolation unit, you have the first pediatric patient of COVID-19 to be managed by the Federal Medical Center in Abuja. Probably, in a matter of days, our result will come back negative twice and she will be discharged. Meanwhile, not less than 8 members of staff of the hospital have tested positive to coronavirus. A statement by the head Public Relations and Information, Segun Orishajo, revealed that those affected include some doctors and nurses. The medical director, Professor Adewale Musalomu, said although none of the staff was symptomatic, they have been asked to proceed on self-isolation and basic treatment commenced for them while wishing them quick recovery. Professor Musa Olomo reiterated his earlier assurances about the safety of the center, both for the workers and patients. So far, the Federal Medical Center Abuja has managed about 20 COVID-19 patients.
She will be fine. Still on that, available studies imply that the lines connecting coronavirus with children are somewhat blurry. While safety campaigns tend to focus on adults, it is natural to overlook kids because there's this widespread assumption that their immune system is ironclad, unlike the older population. However, health workers advise that safety be extended to the little ones. Jume Stephen reports on ways to ensure this.
Children are generally full of energy and adventurous as they play, especially outdoors, to satisfy their excitement at school and home. Well, that was the scenario before the dreaded COVID-19 was recorded in Wuhan, China, and it spread to other countries of the world. Nigerian children, just like their peers across the globe, are going through a re-socialization. There are now new set of rules: no school or outdoor fun, keep physical distance, avoid crowded places, no touching of the face, and most definitely, no inserting of hands in the mouth, as well as use of hand sanitizers or hand washing are now the new normal. For most children, it is not only boring, but a restricted life, and it's no fun.
It's not easy for me to not be able to see my friends, not be able to go to school and learn subjects that teachers teach us. So I had to be doing online classes. I wish this coronavirus should leave. I miss school and I miss my friends. I miss the sports we do at school. I miss everything at school.
Mrs. Blessing Agidi has 6 children, while Abdulrahim Abdul Salam has 4. They say parenting in times like this is not an easy task.
When they are always at home, one have to be up and doing to make sure that they are observing the necessary things that they are supposed to do. You know, children, working with them is not an easy task. We are always watching to make sure that at least whenever they are going out, they are wearing their face masks.
We thank God we have one of the uncle who is a student in ABU, who is at home with us, who is actually helping them in their studies. So I can say for now, they are not behind in terms of their curriculum in school. The school have also sent some materials for us via email and WhatsApp. So he's going on with their lectures at home.
Their experience is no different from what other parents go through on a daily basis. A consultant pediatrician with the National Hospital, Abuja, says the best way to prevent children from infections is boosting their immunity.
The whole essence of food, what food does is it helps us to maintain that proper nutrition. You know, what we say malnutrition is a situation where there's a deviation from normal nutrition. So you can have 2 forms of this, the adverse form of malnutrition, what we call the undernutrition and the overnutrition. Each of these extremes I've mentioned, either undernutrition or overnutrition, is a risk factor for COVID-19 in terms of risk factor for them developing severe disease or even succumbing to the disease.
Apart from adhering to the World Health Organization and medical experts' advice of observing all hygiene and safety protocols, eating balanced diets is also key if the battle against the novel coronavirus is to be won.
Prevention is still the best treatment option even for children. Now, it's been 3 months since schools in Nigeria shut down for safety reasons. Staying at home has not been easy for most young people, but our next subject got innovative by using this waiting period resourcefully. Mumso Damian Dati will now introduce Bright and his creation.
We take you down memory lane. You remember the family of the groundnut sellers, Papa and his children?
I started with 20 naira. It's a business that can help a common man.
Who have established themselves in preparing and selling assorted groundnuts for 40 years.
Well, I'm proud of this business.
Yeah, I got the car from this business that I'm using as a mobile shop.
Then you might just remember his last son, Bright, who is touring a different path, completely off the snack business. His fancy is a flight above the family's current interests. Without anybody's guidance, Bright is already inventing his own stuff.
It was a gift of God. When I was like 5-7 years, I started doing this, making touch, maybe with this mic battery.
Empty cartons, bottles, and discarded cables, some picked from the trash cans, are all he uses to make fruitful his stay at home.
I saw it in the music. If you stand on it, it will be moving. So I saw it, I loved the thing. I decided to make my own. If I used to join my own connection, my other neighbor said he liked my connection.
based on the way I used to do it meat. I was tempted to start doing and selling. So I was doing it with can.
This trial and error exercise has produced a skating board, an aeroplane, and flashlights, among other projects in the works. Though his parents have gone out in search of their daily bread, the neighborhood serves as a runway for Bright's brightness.
At the age of 4 or 5, like that, just like creating things like lights and the rest, I'll be like, maybe this thing is just childish something, but as it keeps growing, it keeps increasing.
If you want to find a truth in all these children, just call him. He will tell you exactly what happened.
One, he's a God-fearing child, and he's not a rough child. If they ask him to do something, he used to do it accurately.
I see him becoming a great engineer. I see him becoming a bright engineer. I see him becoming a big superstar.
Hold on. Even Bright's elder brother has his own invention.
No one teaching about it. It's looking like a wallpaper, but when you come close, you see that it's painting and it's lasting.
As if that is not enough, other talents started emerging among children in the neighborhood.
Wherever you go in this world, come along.
Such a happy neighborhood coexisting harmoniously may just be what these children need to uncover their skills and overcome the very long, compulsory Corona holiday.
Bright is quite the wonder boy, and it's great to see him influencing children in the neighborhood. I'll pause here for a break for some. Extinct community spirit, which entails looking out for the vulnerable in the society, was recently invoked when a 95-year-old homeless woman got a new traditional home. The home was built by elderly Amasoma men and women who are members of a public-spirited group. Ebinimi Zitimi, lawyer in Bayelsa, tells us more about this fascinating wattle and dub house.
Mama Tungbere Ponde of Ibenikiriama, Amasoma, Bayelsa State, was living her life until the great flood of 2012 came and swept away her humble abode made of wattle and dub. That ugly incident saddened her beyond measure, as she is a woman with little or no support. The pitiable living condition of the old woman moved a group of public-spirited individuals who came together to reconstruct a modest apartment for her. Tears of joy welled up her eyes. She poured out her heart of gratitude to the people who had given her shade from the sun and rain, the wind, and keep her warm.
I came to this compound. We saw Mama in the environment she was. We used Cameroon zinc. Then after we have formed the walls, we now discovered that this place, the water during the flood, is over 600 mm. That's over 2 feet above this ground. They used to paddle canoe here. So how are we going to safeguard that? So we now decided to form a foundation, like underpinning. After we have built it, we now did underpinning and put block work to this level. We're going to furnish the room for her before we leave this project.
Yeah, thank you people. People will help us. And they thank you now. And I do well.
They are seeing our condition and it's now favoring their heart. And God go bless him in abundance.
When news got to town about the reconstruction of Mama's abode, women of the community came out in their numbers to weave, dub, plaster the walls, and did other necessaries, a tradition that was handed to them by their forebearers.
This work what they do here, answer
been there small, come grow big up. And they see our grandmothers, our great-great-grandmothers. Then go carry malt from river or nearby, then go come put them for the place. Then the old compound women then go come gather, drink, dance, put the malt dance for the old person.
They called on other public-spirited individuals to support the less privileged and elderly in the society.
Good gesture there. Moving on, there's a scheme by Ebonyi State government that supports youths with special talents. The initiative is beginning to yield the desired results, as witnessed by our crew following a visit to some of the centers. Uchechukwu Chibweze Idam is standing by to show us some innovative additions to regular tricycles by young beneficiaries of the scheme.
This is one of the centers where the electric tricycles are being coupled. Well, nothing much is being done now due to the lockdown orchestrated by the COVID-19. But Newsline sure met some workers who are here.
The one trying to bring this brainchild of the governor into fulfillment by producing this tricycle. The duration to produce this machine takes 4 to 6 weeks when we have all that we needed for the production. Then the advantage is that this is powered by electric, it's not fuel. So when you are using it, you don't need to go and buy fuel. And when you charge it, you use it the maximum time of 4, 6 to 8 hours.
This tricycle is very, very strong enough.
How are the parts of the special tricycle sourced?
The governor did procure parts of electric tricycle from China, and they are meant to be assembled here in Ebonyi State. So the tax has been given to these craftsmen and technicians and artisans to see how they can together fabricate the body of tricycle.
Suffice it to say that the decision to empower only the women for now with the finished products for commercial purposes sends a strong message on government's gender-friendly disposition.
All our customers are enjoying the tricycle, and we are also begging others that have not known what the thing is all about to still patronize us and see how powerful it is that we're going to give them good service. And also about the payments, about the money, he really empowered us because they did not demand any money from our hands. He gave us to be remitting small money monthly. So the only challenge that we are having was when we don't see where to charge it, but now we have a charging station at government house.
The beauty of it all is not only that the electric tricycles are being coupled by indigenous technicians, but the scheme has offered a fertile ground for budding talents to thrive.
Ebonyi, we proceed to Benue. Now, pounded yam to a Benue man is what Furade Nunu is to a Sokoto man. Although most Nigerians love pounded yam, I'm talking about the original brand you need a mortar and pestle to make. They shy away from it because it requires strong muscles to produce and thus energy sapping. To make the preparation method less rigorous and time-consuming, a special yam pounding machine was invented in Benue. The innovation can produce enough pounded yam to feed 50 people in just 3 minutes. Now that's so amazing. Edido Justice reports.
The arable land of Benue State earned it the appellation, the food basket of the nation. This is so real in the life of the people that wherever you go, you get enough food without breaking your pocket as in other states. Among the staple food in the state is the pounded yam, the sound of it which could pass for the greeting "Up and Divere," which means good evening in Tiv language. The pounded yam is loved by many, but the task of pounding using the mortar and pestle is not one that some will want to engage in large quantity. Even if one is prepared to do that, to meet with the demand due to the rising population is quite another challenge. To meet this challenge, Madam Choice, who says she has been in the business in Boko for the past 2 years, has designed a horsepower engine to do the job.
This is a locally fabricated yam pounder, and according to what they say, that this thing can pound akpu or yam that can serve 20 people in 3 minutes.
It is very nice. It pounds well, make food very smooth, and we don't have seeds in the food. It's very nice, soft. Like now, people don't have power like before again. Somebody will pound and start breathing somehow. But with this, you can just use it 5 minutes, you pound your food and finish. It's not stressful, it's very nice. The food at one time, 5 minutes, can pound. It will serve up to 50 people.
The texture is very, very smooth, very fine. It's smoother than any other method. I'm looking forward to do the machine too, so that I'll be using it in my house.
Because you can do sharp, and you can make food hot, they're very hot.
The message from this is that people should put to work the resilient spirit of the true African man, the Nigerian man, who is innovative and always willing to bring his ingenuity to work.
I laughed when she said people don't have power anymore. That's true. Thanks for that report, Edino. One more break before we call it a day. Don't go away.
It has been announced of a Nigerian accomplished social worker, Mrs. Ebunoluwa Kofoworola Balogun Ni Daramola of Mokwa, Kogi State, on the 24th of June in Texas, USA, aged 81. Passionate about social justice, Mrs. Balogun obtained a postgraduate degree in social work from the University of Wisconsin and thereafter dedicated her life to defending the marginalized and supporting anti-racism. Her dedication to humanity spanned her entire career as a social worker at the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, Osun State, from where she retired. She was a devout Christian and an active member of the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Ile-Ife for over 45 years. Mrs. Balogun is survived by her husband, Professor Ekudayo Balogun, her children, Professor Toyi Olutoye, and Mrs. Folake Bangboye, and grandchildren. Burial arrangement. An online homegoing service shall hold in her honor on Monday the 29th of June, 2020 at 6 p.m. Nigerian time. Announcer, Professor Oluyinka Olutoye, for the family.
Muhammadu Buhari has condoled with government and people of Kogi State over the death of the state's Chief Judge, Justice Nasiru Ajana, who passed on this Sunday at the age of 64. In a statement, the president commiserates with his family, the Nigerian Bar Association, and the body of benchers over his demise, urging his family and all his associates to find comfort in prayers and acceptance of the will of God. President Buhari believes Justice Nasiru Ajana made a remarkable impact on the state, his chosen profession and community, with clear evidence that his death will create a huge gap in the judiciary. The president prays that Almighty God will grant the soul of the departed a peaceful rest. And that's a program this week. I want to thank you for watching. Join us again next Sunday for another edition of the program. Good night and God bless Nigeria.